All right, welcome to Ask the Mayor. This is our November edition. We are going to be taking a break next month for December. But keep on submitting the questions, and all questions submitted before January 9th will be asked at our next Ask the Mayor, which will be January the 16th. So please keep the questions coming, and we're going to jump in today because today we've got a lot of questions. All right. So could we get with the school and possibly host a cross-country meet at Carter Park? That would bring in good revenue stream for the parks and the program. Thanks for your continued attention to our community.
Yeah, so this is a great question, kind of a fun question. I would love to be able to host a cross-country meet. I don't know yet. So if Carter Park is large enough yet, but I can tell you that Chad and I, this is something we've talked about. We've talked about expanding, that Carter Park Trail and that going through the disc golf course, which we have that, but then maybe extending that on down to the old sewer plant and maybe across the street there. So this is definitely something we would welcome, and it's something that we're working toward potentially having better capability of getting something like this in place.
All right. Has the city ever considered requiring pets to be microchipped or registered, or having proof of rabies vaccination? We seem to have a lot of dogs and cats running loose, and it would make it easier to identify the owner.
Okay, so this is a good question, and the submitter of this question listed off a host of Springdale codes that touch base on these questions. And so I'll start with the first. Has the city ever considered requiring pets to be microchipped or registered? Yes and yes. So for a very long time, we actually did require pets to be registered. And if I remember correctly, I think it was a $3 fee to get your pet registered, and you had to register it each year and get a tag from the city. So here's the truth on this. When we changed our pet ordinance, which I believe was around 2020, I didn't look at the date that we updated it, but the truth is we had about 3 residents who were paying each year faithfully to register their pets, and no one else was. And it's one of those things that this is hard to enforce, right? Most pet owners aren't an issue, and so you're never checking to see if that pet is registered or microchipped or whatever the case may be. Some years prior, I don't know, I think maybe back in 2006, 2008, there was, I think that was maybe when the pet microchips were first coming out. There was some talk about that, and it never really went anywhere. And a lot of people liken this registration of pets to a pet tax, an extra tax from the city, right? And so it is definitely this can be a controversial subject, believe it or not. But I do want to point out that the city of West Fork does have a rabies vaccination within it's Title VI of the West Fork Municipal Code. It's actually 6.01.04 of the municipal code that deals with rabies requirements, rabies tags requirements. So we do meet that requirement, but as of right now, no, we do not require pets to be registered. And again, it was an enforcement thing. We don't know who is and who isn't. If their dog or animal, cat, whatever is not an issue, then there's no way to enforce whether or not they have that pet registered. So as of now, no. And I know we have some strays. Typically, the police department can locate the owner of those, but in a lot of cases, we are still rural Northwest Arkansas, and we get people from other places coming here and dumping, and that's something that we know we deal with, and that's unfortunate. But at this time, no, we don't have a requirement, and we're not considering having a discussion on it at this point.
All right, so the next one is kind of a multi-question, so I'm just going to pause between each one. Okay, what is the Rock Creek Project?
So, good question. Rock Creek Project, they're replacing that bridge there at Rock Creek. So that's, for anyone that doesn't know, that's the bridge that's just north of West Fork as you're as you're kind of leaving West Fork and coming into Greenland, just south of the Homestead subdivision. There's a small bridge there at Rock Creek, right there at Owl Hollow Road. And so the state is replacing that bridge. And so that's the project, the Rock Creek project.
All right. And then why are they putting huge stone blocks along the creek bed?
Yeah, and so that's not a part of the bridge project. That is a WCR project. WCR is Watershed Conservation Resources. Is that right, Marie?
I think so.
So Marie and I were just talking about this prior to coming on. So Sandy Formica is with WCR, and we know Sandy's work, or WCR's work, as Sandy's work. She's the face of that organization, but it is creek bed restoration that they're doing there, and that's totally separate from that bridge project. That's just where they are actually working now. They've done stream bed restoration projects down the White River. They've came up Rock Creek doing some work, and that's just currently where they're at. And so those two projects are just happen to be at the same spot at the same time, but they're totally unrelated.
All right. And also connected to this question, is the work being done by BH Gas along 71 a part of either of these projects?
Yeah. So what Black Hills is doing, because the RDOT, Arkansas Department of Transportation, is replacing that bridge, there were utilities that had to be moved out of the highway right of way. And so the city of West Fork had to move some water line there along the highway. There's a gas line that needed to be moved. If you've noticed, and I'm not sure if that's SWEPCO or Ozarks Power along there, but they've had to move the power line as well. So yeah, the utility work that's taking place there is due to the bridge work, the bridge replacement. They're actually going to take some of that curve out of Highway 71 there. So it's going to be a little bit more straight shot as you approach that bridge. And so that's why the right-of-ways are moving the way they are.
All right. When will RDOT actually start to work on building the new Main Street Bridge?
So this was originally scheduled to bid in 2026. We just received word about 2 months ago that the state of Arkansas has pushed this project out to possibly 2029. So that's really unfortunate. And the city is still making phone calls. We don't want that bridge to stay there until 2029. We want that project to move forward. So we're going to continue to call the state and try to apply pressure, if you will, that we would like that project moved up further as they first said it would. But yeah, it was supposed to go out to bid in 26 and start in 2027. Now they're saying 2029 for bid. So we'll keep you posted on that as we get more information.
With the new water contract with Fayetteville, will the rates of the citizens' monthly bills go up? And if so, how much and when? What should we expect in the future of rate hikes of our water, sewer, and trash bills?
So this is a great question. And yes, we did sign a new water contract with Fayetteville. That's just a guarantee that Fayetteville is going to provide West Fork with X amount of gallons of water, and it's actually a gallons per hour guarantee. In our water contract with Fayetteville, with our sewer contract with Fayetteville, and with our trash contract, there are built-in annual increases to those contracts, and I believe with all three of those, the built-in is 3%. I know for a fact it is with the water. So Fayetteville is going to they're going to raise their rates 3%, and West Fork will raise our rates likewise to match that 3%. So yes, you can expect a 3% annual increase, and that's. I'm pretty sure the trash contract is a 3% annual as well. I should have double checked that before I went on today, and I did not do it. But I believe trash is 3% as well. But that all of that goes in, and yes, it is an annual increase.
All right. Thank you for explaining that the funding for the utilities movement for the new bridge will be part of the loan forgiveness and part low interest loan payment. Where will the money come from to pay for the loan payments?
Okay, and so I just want to clarify here. So there won't be loan forgiveness, but the state will reimburse us for part of that work. So just a technicality, but I want to make sure that that I haven't miscommunicated that. So there's not loan forgiveness. It's just a reimbursement for some of that work, and then we will have a low interest loan for the remainder portion of that. And where will the money come from for those loan payments? Well, we'll just work that into our budget. That's something that we have to, as we're planning our future budgets, we know that this is going to be a part of it. And so the nice thing about this is the city financially is in really strong in a really strong position. This is going to be a cash outlay, obviously out of a future budget, but we're working with the state now on those loans, so we will have that information ahead of time before we start having to make those payments, and we'll probably have that information a year in advance before we have to start making those. So this is something that we will just work into our annual budget with the funds that we currently have.
All right. In the new subdivision off McKnight Street, how many new residents moved into the city limits? How many children moved into the neighborhood? And of those children, how many are enrolled in the West Fork school system?
All great questions. And the answer is, I don't know. So that subdivision over on Smith Street, which is off of McKnight, so it's not completely built out. They still have 2 lots that they haven't started construction on, and they still have a few homes that have not sold yet. And so we don't have any numbers on that yet. These are all things I would like to know as well. And I just don't have the answer yet because it's not complete. And so, yeah, as that subdivision finishes up, which it's, if you watch subdivisions develop, this one has developed rather quickly as far as once they started building and started selling, it has filled up, and that's good. But I think it's a little premature at this point to try to get some surveys out there to find the answer to these questions. But it's certainly information that I want to know. I can tell you that there's 28 homes in that subdivision. On average, if you kind of look across West Fork, if you go back to a presentation I gave the city council, I think about 2 years ago on homes and how that affects city economics, we would say there's probably an average of 3 people per house. So I can't do that math in my head while I'm on the spot in front of the camera, but we're looking at just under 100 residents, most likely, once that's full. And we will be contacting the school to try to get some data on how many of those homes do have kids. So how many kids are coming to West Fork out of that subdivision, because that's definitely stuff that we want to know. Like I said, it's just a little premature yet. Once it's completed, I definitely want that information as well.
All right, so you kind of already answered this question, but I'm going to go ahead and read this one out because it was submitted. What is the city's plan to fund the maintenance and upkeep of Main Street once the new bridge is complete?
So we've had this question multiple times, and it's a good question. There's a reason why this keeps getting asked. It's a really good question, but I want to just kind of keep in mind that's 1.5 miles of new asphalt that we're going to take over maintenance of, and so yeah, this is going to work into the street budget, as with the other streets in West Fork. So we're basically picking up 1.5 miles of streets, and as I've mentioned before, the city gets street turnback money from the state about every 3 years. And I think our current allotment for this next street project from the state, the turnback money from the state, is just under $500,000. So, and that increases typically every 3-year cycle. So every 3 years we get a large amount of money from the state specifically for street projects, and everything on Main Street is going to qualify for that street turnback aid. And so we'll be able to utilize that. But also we have a street budget line item that routine and minor repairs will fall into. So we don't see this as something that is going to drain or deplete our street maintenance funds as they are.
All right, and this is the final question for this month. What are the plans for Riverside Park?
This was bigger, wasn't it? Are we missing part of this question? I think we are.
I don't think so.
Did
But
it not also ask Riverside Park and the sewer plant? Maybe when I was thinking about these questions, that's where my mind went.
Oh, well, let me.
We'll go ahead and discuss this, and I'll throw the rest of it in just in case.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
What are our plans for Riverside Park? Not sure. That's a broad question. So we have Riverside Park. It's a beautiful park. There are going to be some changes to it as that bridge project comes forward. So we know we're going to have to move some signage. We're not real sure about the current entrance and how that's going to be affected. I think most everyone knows at this point we also bought the yellow house that's just around the curve there from the park entrance. And, we bought that because that borders the park and ties into the park, and we thought that would be a great addition to Riverside. We also have the old sewer plant property, which has been rehabilitated, and it's a grass field now. So the city has some land that is most likely going to be park space. And I know everybody wants to know what's the plan for it. Well, sometimes there is no plan. Maybe what we do with some of this land is not this administration that makes that decision, right? So maybe we don't have any dire needs for our parks right now. So maybe we leave some of that land slated for a future administration or a future generation to come up with some of those ideas. That doesn't mean that if something comes up, we can't do it, but we don't have immediate plans to make large scale changes to those areas. But it's nice to know that we have the capacity to do so either now or in the future. So I'm in no hurry to expand Riverside into that new property that we bought. I'm in no hurry to put a development on the old sewer plant. The park space that we have is fantastic. We are doing some upgrades at Riverside, so Chad's getting pricing on some new playground equipment. So you can expect to see that coming in the near future. But yeah, as far as some of that park land and what are we going to do with it, I don't know. The beauty is we have more park space per capita than most cities in the area, greater than the national average. And like I said, maybe it's not for this administration to decide what we need in parks. Maybe it's another administration sometime in the future. And so I think we're blessed to have that extra land and have that availability of just waiting and see what the future holds and what kind of park needs that brings. So I think that's how I would answer that question.
All right, and then for the part I accidentally cut off, if you wanted to continue on that, was it kind of all-encompassing?
Yeah, I think that's all-encompassing because I want to say that I thought that there was an extra piece on there about the old sewer plant and that becoming part of the parks. And maybe that's just where my mind went when I was planning for these questions. I'm not sure, but.
All right. Well, if I have accidentally cut off your question, I apologize, and I will make sure it is on the January Ask the Mayor. So that is 100% my bad if it is. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great Friday and a good Thanksgiving, and we'll see you all in January.